versus movie. Movie versus movie. Movie versus movie. Movie versus movie.
Welcome back, everyone. It is an episode of the Culture Boys, but today
we got a culture girly.
we got a culture girly in the house. That's right. Fan favorite Jamie has returned to do a little culture people episode.
Who's a fan of me? Has anyone directly said that they're a fan?
Alice is a fan of you, so gotcha, motherfucker.
Well, Alice has great taste.
So how's everyone been doing? What have you been thinking about lately? What have you been reading? What have you been seeing?
I watched just last night. I watched Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh God, top 5 movies for me. It's so good.
I won't even lie. I watched it because I know how much you love it.
Yeah.
Because last night I was
Hey, look at that. We were just off mic talking about this.
No, and I'm not just like saying this to like jazz you up.
No, but you are. Ooh.
No, but
I am rock hard.
I looked at your... Alice, watch out. I got another fan. You and Alice fight to be my biggest fan. No, but I looked at your letterbox and I was like, because Patrick had watched it a month or two ago, and I was like, oh, I'm deeply, deeply in need for a rewatch.
Yeah.
And
that movie goes down smooth.
it's so good.
It's a hot
Except
cup
it
of
needs
cocoa.
more Saoirse in it, but I think that's literally my only critique of it, though, because there was funny moments, there was like sad, touching moments. I think I'm gonna say
Ralph Fiennes in that movie is
impeccable.
my ideal character.
I think
in
that's
anything.
him at his best. Sorry, Voldemort.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's pretty good in Coriolanus too, but
I'm gonna pull up his thing
his
and
idea. Whatever it is.
You know, IBM.
IBM.
Put it into the IBM machine.
Check your IBM computer.
What's he like most popular for?
I mean, it's Voldemort, really, but he's been in others.
Schindler's List.
Okay, Schindler's
he's-
List.
Schindler's
he's
List.
I've never seen Schindler's List.
He is terrifying in
Oh,
Schindler's
sorry.
List. I love Schindler's List. It is such a powerful movie.
It's extremely emotionally heavy.
Yeah, I watched it when I was depressed in the summer, and it really fit the mood.
Okay, me watching BoJack Horseman constantly.
Oh, he was in Doolittle.
He's also. Let me just say.
Wait, we forgot his titular role.
Let me just say in defense of Ralph Fiennes, one of the best actors that we have alive. He is also a huge theater actor.
Yes, and I respect and love that about him.
Yeah, he is
a classically trained
everywhere.
man.
He is a classically trained man.
He treads the boards.
He treads the boards. He's very much to me
Anyways.
like the heir apparent to Ian McKellen. You know what I mean? When Ian McKellen passes,
interesting.
I think that Ralph Fiennes is sort of that person.
Okay.
Can we
And then
just say it here on this podcast, anyone who's listening to this, when Ian McKellen dies,
I'm gonna be so sad.
please
I'll be
find
very
me.
sad.
I will not be okay.
Yeah.
I will not. And Sir Patrick Stewart, both of them.
Yeah.
I
Them
will
as a
not
couple.
be.
I'm not. This is the thing about Patrick Stewart. I love Patrick Stewart.
Please, Patrick.
I love
Please
Patrick
don't
Stewart.
fuck up Patrick Stewart for me.
No, I love Patrick Stewart. He's just sort of like, as I get older, I'm like, I just like Ian McKellen better. You know what I mean? Like they are just on different levels.
I like Sir Patrick Stewart better. Patrick, where do you land?
I'm sorry, Ian McKellen. But I just
Not that Ian McKellen's bad, because I just
have
know I
a-
What
love
the
him
fuck?
as
You don't
well.
like a powerful gay man?
I guess like what I have a strong connection to Lord of the Rings. I don't have a strong connection to X-Men or Star Trek.
I have a very, very strong connection to X-Men.
Yeah, there's. But he's in
feel like-
both.
Yeah, Magneto and yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. But you
Professor
also
X.
love, and your young Professor X is your boy.
James McAvoy. Oh,
I love James McAvoy. I feel like now though the big British theater movie star is fucking Jesus Christ. What's his name? Hot Priest.
Adam Scott.
Oh,
No,
wow, we
Adam.
all went different routes.
No, it's not
there.
Adam Scott, but it is an Adam.
It's
Who are you talking about? I'm talking about Hot Priest.
you're talking about Hot Priest.
What is his name?
I was talking about Aaron Tyler
One second.
Johnson.
I have to. This literally happens to me.
Wait, what?
Every time.
He's not a theater guy though, is he?
No. I just think of like British people that everyone's like losing their minds about.
One second. Hot priest. Hot.
Andrew.
Hot Priest.
Andrew Scott. No.
Andrew Scott.
No,
Is that who you're thinking of?
Yeah.
Andrew Scott. Okay, you said Adam Scott. You meant Andrew Scott.
Yes, I did.
Andrew
It is
Scott.
Andrew
We got
Scott.
there, we got there, we got there.
Because Andrew Scott, is incredible on screen, but you watch him and you're like, that's a theater guy.
I will say, so for everyone, this is a hidden gem, and I am giving it away for free. So take this and please use it. He did, during the pandemic, a filmed piece of theater that is a one-person show. It's called The Seawall, and it is fucking incredible. It's 40 minutes long.
Is it with
so
the National Theater?
I think that they did produce it
National
together.
Theater Live?
Maybe not National Theater Live. It was like definitely during the pandemic they filmed this thing.
Okay,
but
noted.
it is intensely moving.
Can you text it to me so I don't forget?
Yeah, I will. It's like you can get on Prime and stuff for like a couple bucks. I'm not. It might be free
I have
somewhere.
to pay? Never mind.
I don't know.
I'm kidding.
But
I will pay.
he is so good in that piece.
Dare I say has he been bad in anything really?
I still haven't seen all
Young
of Us Strangers. I mean, I think he's
Victor
getting to the
Frankenstein.
point where he's hot, so he's doing a lot of stuff
Yeah.
right now, and so I feel like we could reach a point of oversaturation.
But he's been doing stuff forever, and I feel like he makes good picks. Like even when he does more poppy stuff, like he did Sherlock, he was Moriarty. Like he was great in that. Fantastic. He
Yeah.
plays like
He
a
was good in Sherlock.
fucking weirdo, like crazy person really well. He also does. He's an incredible romantic lead, as we saw in Fleabag and other things.
Did you see Ripley on Netflix?
No.
His like black and white Talented Mr. Ripley remake.
Is it good?
I didn't see it.
I haven't seen it.
I really want to though. I haven't read anything about if it's good or bad though.
Yeah.
I think
think
I
it
kind of
got-
want to go in blind without an
I won't
impression
say
from the
anything.
audience.
Yeah.
Please
Say
don't.
nothing. I didn't see it, but I think I saw reactions to it.
Speaking of incredible movies, Patrick, you were gonna say something.
No. I wanted to transition so you could.
Dune Part 2? Are we
Speak.
talking about it now?
No, we're not talking about
This
Dune
is
Part
movie
2. I'm
called
so sorry.
Ladybird.
We're talking about maybe a sleeper hit of the year for me. It was intensely moving.
I think it is for critics and audiences
Yeah, let
too.
me know.
I think it's doing quite well.
We're talking about
Tell
Thelma.
the fans.
Thelma is I actually was like, I went with my friend Mary Ellen, who used to be the host of this podcast. We were going to see a movie and we saw Thelma, and she was crying at the end. I was like, what did I just go through? That was incredible. It's one of the funniest movies I've seen in a long time, and it's one of the movies with the most heart that I've seen in a long time. It in that way kind of reminds me of Grand Budapest, where it's just like you feel very like warm. It completely lacks cynicism, which I really appreciated. And immediately I was like, hey, Alice, I really love this movie. We should go see it again. I went and saw it again, and she scooted her way right back into my heart. She's a 93-year-old woman. The actress, Miss Squibb, but what's her first name?
June Squibb.
June Squibb. She's incredible. She also is the originator of the like main role in Gypsy on Broadway, like in the
up.
50s.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. She's
Shout out to Erica.
Yeah.
Loves Gypsy.
That's supposedly her first leading role in a movie.
Yeah.
At 93. And the crazy part is she's kind
Never
of
too late,
playing
folks.
younger.
She is a little
Like
bit.
her character in the movie you think is probably in her 80s. And
Yeah.
then you're like, she's 93? I mean, it's physical. She's like,
She has a stunt double.
does she?
Yeah.
I love that.
That's how old my grandparents are, and imagining them being on like a movie set and doing that is crazy. Also, I think it's
about-
definitely a testament that you saw it twice in theaters, because
Yeah.
that does not
I don't
happen.
I don't do that very
Yeah.
often. I honestly don't go to theaters very often, just because I genuinely do not like the theater experience, being surrounded by a lot of people who will, in my experience, there's a 90% chance of someone just talking through the movie or
Okay,
doing some shit, and it's just like very
I don't know if it's the movies I go to or if I've just been lucky. I feel like I've seen a lot of discourse online and hearing from you about how people being really rude at the theater,
Yeah.
being on their phone and talking.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've just been, knock on wood, like super lucky and just
Same.
haven't
Knock on wood for
had
me.
that experience. But I
I-
think I
yeah.
generally see
Which
movies.
sucks, Nick. I'm sorry you experienced
Yeah.
that.
I'm very sorry.
and it happened enough in a row because I was like, this is just one off, right? And then it happened again and again and again. And I think it is probably where I see movies and stuff. Like I go
Also,
to
what movie you're seeing?
and probably what movie. Like the worst case of this was when I went to see Into the Spider-Verse when it first came out in like 2019 or 2020 or something like that.
Nick hasn't been to a theater since 2019.
Never. No. I have. I
just
promise.
teasing you.
But the when we were there, it was a maybe 10:30 p.m. show, and someone had brought their 2-year-old to the show.
Okay.
And who was crying.
Illegal.
And it's just
That
like,
should be illegal.
And it's
Yeah.
like, I'm not mad at the child. I'm mad at you
Absolutely.
for bringing
That's not that
a
child's fault.
baby to a 10:30 show where there's a lot of flashing lights and loud shit. Like that. Obviously, this is going to be the end. It was so distracting, but also like that shit just keeps happening to me, and it's very frustrating.
That's very annoying. I think
It should be illegal to do that.
yeah, I feel like I haven't gone to that many big releases recently where there's like just the more people in the theater, the more likely. But even like when we saw Thelma, Aaron and I saw it, and also we didn't love it on the same level that Nick did, but we both really enjoyed it, and it's a very sweet movie. Our theater was weirdly not laughing at the jokes,
Which is wild
which was
to
strange.
me. Yeah.
And so
It can make or
makes
break
it-
an experience.
It
a
makes
little
it
bit.
harder, yeah, because Aaron and I would laugh at them, but then you're like, oh,
I will say that Alice and I were doing the majority of the laughing in our screening.
That
However,
happened
like,
to me recently.
however, I could tell that people were like chuckling around me. But when
Yeah.
there's a line where she's calling all of her friends and she's finding out that they've either died or moved away and all this kind of stuff, and she calls one person and goes, "What? She fell into a fire pit?" And she goes,
That might
"Was it
be
on?"
funny.
It's
Oh
just
my
like
God.
the writing is so smart and funny that I was like laughing out loud. And to your point, like I think that moviegoers, especially in New England, are a little bit still like puritanical in that they're like, silence is the way we enjoy this. You know what I mean?
Deeply not me.
Yeah.
I recently saw the new Wolverine Deadpool movie.
Was it good?
It really hit for me.
Really?
I want to like preface it, if you haven't seen it yet, though, that I feel like it's more of an X-Men movie than a Deadpool movie.
Interesting.
Which was fine for me personally
Because you love X-Men.
I love X-Men, and I grew up on those movies. I remember that was like, this sounds crazy, but like those X-Men movies from like Fox were like some of the first movies where I was like, I really like movies.
Yeah.
Like this is going to be a part of my life that like I love movies, and this is going to be part of my identity now is
Yeah,
like
I'm a movie
being
person.
a movie person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is wild because there was not a lot of substance
gi-
in those movies,
I'll
but
give it a shot because I saw the first Deadpool. I liked it. I have not seen the second Deadpool just because it's not like something super interesting to
Sure.
me. However, like I like kind of a comic superhero movie anyway. I'm not a huge superhero movie in general, but these feel more enough removed that they kind of feel fresh enough for me to see. So I'd like to see it. And I've been getting marketed to constantly about the movie, so I feel like I'll probably see it eventually. But especially with your recommendation,
I think in your situation, it's a movie you could see like at home when it's streaming for free.
Totally.
I think like for you, maybe don't go and see it in the theater. But I will say that it's obviously it's a Deadpool movie. It's extremely funny.
Yeah.
Like Ryan Reynolds doing what Ryan Reynolds does. But there was many points in my theater where I was dying laughing.
And no one else.
No one else.
really?
Fucking weird, dude.
And I did not
Surprising.
care. And I have a very distinct laugh.
I assumed you saw it, like, was it a full theater? You saw it shortly after it came
I
out.
saw it maybe 2 weeks after it came out, maybe a week or two.
Was it daytime or nighttime?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock? Okay.
7:10.
Yeah, that seems like the crowd that is like going out to have a fun time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Surprising.
mean, people weren't. It wasn't silent.
Yeah.
People were laughing. I think it was just a theater where it was like, I'm just going to see Deadpool. Like I'm on a date or whatever. Whereas like for me, I'm seeing Deadpool because I like Deadpool. I mean, Wolverine is like my sexual awakening. I'm sorry. Like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine was my sexual awakening.
Sure.
That's when I was like, guess I am straight. But
Damn.
truly damn. But yeah, so I think for me it had different stakes and weight than probably a lot of people in the audience.
Yeah.
It felt like a very more casual theater, and then I was the person
Fair,
everyone
fair,
was
fair,
like,
fair.
"Oh my god!"
You were paying attention. kind of
People in the
thing.
theater were like, I think, laughing at me laughing.
Yeah.
You were locked in.
I was very locked.
Now, I'm so sorry, Jamie, because you won't have a whole lot to contribute as you have not seen this movie. But I need to know what Patrick thinks about
Please,
Thelma.
Patrick, pop off.
Please tell me what you and Aaron
You can
thought. What are
spoil
your
it. It's
thoughts?
okay.
No, I feel like I'm not going to be as effusive as you are.
That's totally fine. But I just want to know generally like what your thoughts are, like why you rated it like a little bit lower than me, and like what you thought of the general experience. Just because you're I think the only other person that I know that has seen it. That wasn't with you. That wasn't with me. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. It's a sweet movie that's funny. I think, okay, here, actually, I talked about it with Aaron a little bit. And it's hard to like critique a movie for what it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily want to say like what the movie should be. I really appreciate that it was clear that it was a personal story. At the end, you get like a clip of the real Thelma.
Oh my God, that made
very
me
cute.
Sob.
Yeah, that was very sweet. And I think the parts that I enjoyed the most were the most heightened and absurd kind of slapsticky parts. And I think I would have like when the gun goes off or like the trash can blows up at the end, where it's like directly parodying action movies.
Yeah. Well, it's parroting like Mission Impossible. It's like it's paced as a Mission Impossible movie.
And so I think having those moments and really enjoying those moments, I was kind of like, I kind of wish it was a little more heightened in that respect. And instead it's kind of more of like it's obviously like it's a comedy, but it's kind of like a sober, pretty realistic story.
It's just sort of like a commentary on aging, both as aging out of childhood into young adulthood and also aging out of adulthood into, end of life.
Right.
Yeah.
I think for Aaron and I don't know. Aaron and I both have grandparents in, like going through moving from independent living to assisted living and have had grandparents pass away in the last year. So a lot of it was really relatable on that front.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that maybe in some ways made it less funny for us. I don't know. Or not less funny, but it was just like a little more like sober and like, this is how it is. And like, it's tough.
It's almost triggering to like
a little bit, yeah. I kind of talked to Erin about it, and she was like, "It hit a little too close for home to home for me." And I was like, "That's interesting," because I was like, "I feel like in some ways you're like, oh, this is more relatable."
Yeah.
But she was kind of like, it just kind of reminded me. It just made me a little sad because it reminded me. There's a specific part that reminded, the scam, the whole thing that happened to her grandpa.
Really?
The exact scam. So the conceit of the movie, this isn't a spoiler, this is the very first thing that happens, is she has a grandson. She gets scammed where it's a common scam. Somebody calls, it's a young man calls, and they say, Grandma, I'm in a lot of trouble. I'm in jail. I've been arrested. I need you to send me money. And then Grandma goes, oh, Jacob, is that you? And they go, yes, Jacob. They never like say their name or anything. And she's like, oh, you sound different. And he's like, oh, I got in a fight. But that happened to Aaron's grandpa. Someone called and was like, hey, Grandpa, like I'm in jail. I need help. And he's like, Jackson, is that you? And he like went to the bank, and the reason like the bank was like, this sounds like a scam.
Yeah.
And like that's why
Thank
it like stopped it, which is crazy. But the movie in Thelma, she puts the money in the mailbox, and then her family's like, Grandma, this is a scam, and so she's trying to go get it back.
Yeah, it's the thing for me, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Is that I don't have grandparents anymore. Mm-hmm. And I've never had a super close relationship to my grandparents, except for one who passed away first. Mm-hmm. So like, I think in part of it is sort of like this, I was able to avoid it being too close to home. However, it brought back all of like the good parts of that relationship between me and my grandma when I was like a teenager. And I feel like I got the good parts without the bad parts. Yeah. It went in that regard.
And I think it communicates the humanity of that population in a way that's not always portrayed.
I loved that about it, where that it was not punching down ever. Yeah. It was always punching up. And I think that it was just like kind of weird because, ageism is a real thing. And I mean, famously in our improv group, we have a member who's a nurse who is just like, oh, old people, because, that is like her main demographic of people she helps.
To be fair, she sees old people like at their worst. Like if you're a
Yes.
nurse, you're seeing
No,
people
totally,
at
yeah.
their worst, like regardless of age.
Yeah.
So I'm here to defend Erica.
But no, totally. But there's a scene in this movie that made me just like, oh man, that feel like I feel so deeply right now is when her friend whose wife had passed away a few years ago and he's been in assisted living, and he's kind of a counterpoint to Thelma, who really wants to maintain her independence, and he's like trying to talk her out of it essentially, and he's like, we're not what we were, and she says like, maybe you're not, and he's like, I know we're not, because when my wife fell, I didn't hear her for 2 hours when like she fell and passed away. And like that is, you know, that's heartbreaking, but it's also just like this like shared humanity of like, this is gonna happen to everyone, and it doesn't mean that you're worse off or whatever and like all that, but it means that you have to pull together as a community to and that's what part of this movie's about as well. So
And I think between like, for like real life experience between multiple grandparents, Aaron and I have kind of had the like spectrum of experience of like my grandparents that put themselves into assisted living and are super happy and thriving, and then just grandparents that deteriorated really fast and kind of had to be forced into it.
you had a soup plantation situation, which is a joke in this movie that I fucking love. Real quick, Jamie, there's a point where Nicole Byer actually is one of the people who works at the assisted living home, and she's like, has this ever happened before? Because Thelma's gone, and they're like, well, there was that time at soup plantation, and then Nicole Byer, famously a black woman, it goes, the what? And he goes, I never,
Famously a black woman.
and he's like, I never have processed that. It's really, really funny.
That is so real to like recontextualize something in your childhood when you're like telling a story to someone and being like, oh my God, why did my family do, say, or like cook or make or whatever that? Oh, those moments are so relatable.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
Yeah. But
All right, well, I guess I'll go see it.
But you like it? Is it worth a see for our audience, or do you think
it's
wait
worth
till
a
it comes
see,
out?
and
I
it's
think
like a great,
Patrick, all my grandparents are still alive. Should I go see it?
Yeah, it's 90 minutes. Check.
Perfect.
It's an indie movie.
Check.
I think it is doing pretty well at the box office for what it is. And it's got like 99% on
Hashtag
Rotten
Oscars
Tomatoes.
question mark?
Yeah.
It would be very fun if she got an Oscar nomination. She has an Oscar, right, for Nebraska, I think?
Yeah, I think so.
I think she won for it. She was in
She also
Nebraska. I
is
never
like
saw Nebraska.
she was in Inside Out 2 or Inside Out 1 or something.
Yeah, she's
and
like
so-
the biggest star. Her and Io Adebri are the two biggest stars in the world right now.
I would say, like, for me, go see it, or wait till it comes out and see it. I don't think it needs to be on a big screen to get the full
I
effect
think
of this
on
movie.
streaming.
Yeah. And I would say, like, if you have time, you have the interest, watch it. It is such a fun little ride, even if you're not going to like, it's not going to change your brain chemistry. For me, it felt very much like Marcel the Shell, if you've seen that movie.
I have seen it.
Yeah. Did not like it?
I did like it.
Oh, great. Okay, cool. Then
It was very much similar to your like impression with Boyhood and Lady Bird of just like going in and not knowing what to expect or having a certain expectation. I was like, everyone's talking about this movie saying it's so good, and like it's not gonna be that good.
Yeah.
I remember saying that and just being like, I'm ready for this movie to impress me, and it did.
This is what happened to me with this movie, where I walked in, I was like, I knew the poster and I knew its trailer, which to be honest is not a great trailer. And I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll go see it. Thelma, like I suggested it. It's a quick movie. It looks fun. Let's just go see it. What happens? And it fucking just completely impressed me. Like I was ready to have a mediocre experience, and I had a good experience, and maybe that's why I think it was better than it was.
That's the best way to see a movie.
Yeah.
It really is. That's why I like going blind into movies. And
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite things to do, and then just be totally wowed by something.
Yeah, totally. So as we kind of approach this episode end of Culture Boys, you're an honorary Culture Boy now. What do we think about October movies for a movie versus movie episode?
Do we need to do something spooky?
Yes, we could do like fucking horror movie, whatever. We were talking about a serial killer drama because we have two serial killer movies. We could do, I have a friend named Franco who would love to guest, who has a pairing in his mind that I think is great, which is Kiki's Delivery Service and The Vavitch.
I feel like that's good for Halloween because it's witchy.
Yes.
And there is horror movie in there, but it's one that I've seen and know I can handle because we're both babies.
Yeah.
When it comes to horror movies.
I would happily come back for that because I really want to see The Witch.
Yeah, The Witch.
And Kiki's Little Resource is a black cat in it. Am I wrong?
And that's your boy Tony in his first role.
Yeah. I adopted the cat in that movie.
I think that one would be excellent for the theme.
I'm just inviting myself back for every podcast.
Should we do witches as the theme, or what should we like? Is that what it is?
Witches would be so cute.
Yeah, I think that's the
Let's
theme.
do it.
Witches? Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so you heard it here first. We just decided it's gonna be Kiki's Delivery Service versus the Vavitch. So start watching them now. We're gonna have it coming out first week of October. And then we'll have another Culture Boys after that. Anything else that we should talk about? Just generally, like, things
Can
going on?
I finally talk about Dune 2?
Yeah, let's talk about Dune 2. I will say, here's my thing, Jamie. Dune 1, for me, was beautiful.
Yes.
But it was like walking through a museum where I'm like, wow, what a beautiful painting. Wow, what a beautiful painting. Wow, what a beautiful painting. And I just like, I've read Dune. I love science fiction. I just couldn't get into it. And so I never went to Dune 2, which you've said.
For the listener, I've pulled out my gun.
Pointing it directly at me.
Yes.
Don't shoot that here. Your still suit will blow up and it'll be a nuclear explosion.
To be fair, one of my favorite things about Dune is that mechanic about why they don't use fucking guns.
Dune is this weird thing for me where everything that I hear about it, when I hear people talk about the lore of it, I'm like, that's so cool.
God,
and I've read the book. I think I like it, but I don't love it.
Yeah.
The book and the
I gotta get you into 40K because they just like took all the cool parts of Dune and were like, this is what 40K is.
All right, fine. Is it a book?
It's a lot of books, but it's a setting. Warhammer 40,000.
Even if you're not into the plot as much of Dune, I saw Dune 2 in theaters twice with Jamie, and it's an incredible movie going experience.
To be experienced in IMAX in a theater, period.
Visually it's stunning. And there's a ton of sequences in there that are just like extremely well done and suspenseful in and of themselves. Even if like, I think for me personally, the overarching story just doesn't quite grab me enough.
Yeah.
But just like watching the movie was fun.
Yeah, I would see it. I just don't feel like I would rather see Godzilla -1 first, which is also on my list.
That one also is really good.
Yeah. But Jamie, you would like to talk about Dune 2, please.
No, I just love Dune, and I think it's good. Actually, my real question for you, Nick, for not being a Timothée Chalamet fan, is what's your favorite Timothée Chalamet movie?
Do I have to have one?
Yes.
Probably Lady Bird.
Wow.
What else has he been in recently? He was in, Call Me By Your Name, I enjoyed. I feel conflicted about parts of it, but I also know that like mostly the age difference between them and that he's still a student feels a little weird to me. It's kind of very Licorice Pizza almost.
Yeah.
And I know that, what's his name? Cannibal Army Hammer is problematic now. But his performance in that movie is great, I will say.
Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
I'll see Thelma. Can you please watch Bones and All?
Bones and All. I will see that one. I'm not a huge gore person, but I will see it. I just got scared away by a trailer where I saw someone get fully eaten and like pretty viscerally.
Can you please watch it, please?
It's very good. It's the same director as Call Me By Your Name.
Okay.
It looks incredible. Michael Stuhlbarg shows up, the dad from Call Me By Your Name.
You know what I also want to see? Maybe we can all see it together. Is the new Frankenstein movie that is by Diablo Cody.
Renfeld and Nick Cage?
Oh, the girl one? Lisa Frankenstein?
Lisa Frankenstein.
Which is a great name.
I
Great
would-
literally
title.
haven't even heard of that.
It's like
Is it
literally,
out?
yeah, it's out. It's on streaming. It's like literally a woman makes a Frankenstein monster-esque boyfriend, and there's like maybe some murder that happens, but
Is that with Dylan Sprouse or whatever?
it might
Cole
be, yeah.
Sprouse?
Yeah, it
I
is
think
Cole
so, yeah.
Sprouse.
I talked to someone on the phone about that. Cannot remember who for the life of
I
me.
thought you were going to
Sorry
say
to that
I
person.
talked to Cole Sprouse.
Sorry to that woman. Sorry to that man. And they said that they loved it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because I got a little nervous because I was also really liking the look of Renfield, and I heard it was a big pile of poo-poo.
I do love Nicholas Hoult. He's so
I
good.
love Nicholas Hoult.
Did you
Did
see
you watch
Ren-
The Great?
And I have not watched The Great, but from what I've seen, it looks really good.
It's a phenomenal team.
Did you see Renfield?
No.
Did you?
No.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do that sometime.
I don't want to get everyone mad at me, but I like respect Nick Cage and he can do his thing, and National Treasure is a national treasure, but I'm not like the biggest Nick Cage person.
I don't think that. So listen, Nick Cage swings big, and when he hits, it fucking hits, and when it doesn't, it becomes kind of silly. He is acting as a stage actor all the time in front of the camera. I will say, because of his massive amount of debt he was in, he was just taking any script that came across his desk. Real fact, because he got himself into a real estate problem.
Which tracks. Yeah, he was in like a castle.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is that like, I think that he's gotten a lot better in the last 10 years because of the amount of shit he's been in. Like, he's literally like becoming like a studio system style star where
And I
he's
think,
just been in
yeah,
everything.
You just do enough stuff.
Yeah.
The things. But no, there's good. Mandy goes wild in that one.
Raising Arizona, we want to
Yes,
do
I was
soon?
like, there's a Nick Cage movie floating around somewhere.
I've
Right?
never
Also-
seen
Arizona.
Raising Arizona, you wanted to match with something else that I also
Yeah,
hadn't
what was
seen.
it?
You were gonna do Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah,
But then
and
we talked
Raising
about
Arizona.
doing, I think we also talked about doing Moonstruck, which we might do with a different one.
Ooh, for Nick Cage's, yeah.
But we might do Moonstruck with something else.
we were
Cage
talking about
getting
like
cagey.
we were also talking about like
Get in
maybe
the
like love story, like weird love stories, and having Harold and Maude, and I don't think Moonstruck, but I think it was thrown around at one point.
I'll get back to you on weird love stories. I feel like I could tap into that.
That'd be
Bones
good.
and all.
Or at least like,
Bones and All is
It's a weird love story.
if this podcast covers Bones and All, I am on that episode, period.
And on that note, why don't we wrap it up for this month's episode of The Culture Boys? I'm so excited to have you, Jamie. Thank you so much for being on these month's episodes.
I'm honored,
And
surely.
we will definitely have you back on soon.
Yes, when you're being held at gunpoint.
Yeah, when that gun is reloaded. Everyone, please go to our show notes. We're going to have all of our letterboxes. We'll have our socials. You can contact us via
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
WikiFeet.
Exactly. Patrick's really on top of that. He's really been making the money for this podcast lately. So go show him what you think of it by going down and leaving us a review, 5 stars, all that kind of stuff. And we will see you next time on Movie versus Movie. Goodbye.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Movie versus movie. Movie versus movie. Movie versus movie. Movie versus movie.